Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Live, Love, and Lava. I've been making jewelry for almost 10 years now, and today I am going to show you how to make a leather wrap bracelet. So this is the introduction video only. What I'm going to be showing you is how to start your first few macrame stitches before you add your beads. So in this video, I already have my button on my leather at the exact halfway mark. So I'm going to attach it to my fabric tray. And this tray is just a basic 8.5 by 11 fabric tray that you can find at Yisk, at the dollar store, actually, is where this one probably came from. And I really like this because when you attach your leather, you can still get your hands underneath. Some people like to use a flat tray or even a clipboard, but I find that this works and is the easiest for me. So I'm going to attach my button to the top of my tray, and because this is just a single wrap, I'm using the short side of my basket. So then I will pull, see if you can see that, I'll pull my leather fairly snug, and you can see it kind of gets pulled a little bit tight. You don't want it too tight or that button side will come flying out. Okay, so I'll attach my other clip to the bottom, and now this, I find, is the trickiest part of the bracelet, is to get it started. So normally when I'm making my leather wraps, I'm using one of two different types of cords. I'm either using a micro size or my regular Ceylon size. So this is a great choice because it comes in a lot of different colors. The problem is it is a 0.7 millimeter cord, so it can be a little bit tricky to get two of these into some of the smaller beads, but it comes in so many fantastic colors. The micro is great because it will fit multiple times through the stone beads, especially the ones that have really tiny holes or little tiny crystals, which I may show you at some point in the future. But both of these threads are difficult to see on camera, to see what I'm actually doing. Another type of thread that I like to use a lot is tough cord. Again, it is a very tiny thread, but it is great for putting through those tinier stones or crystals. So that's the type of thread I use. My leather typically is a 1.5 millimeter. It's my favorite. It's my go-to. And for today's video, for teaching purposes only, instead of a thread, I am going to use another length of 1.5 millimeter leather. And I'm going to call this bright blue leather my thread. But because it's so nice and big and chunky, you will get to see exactly what I'm doing. And you can replicate that using your tiny thread at home, and you'll be able to see up close what your thread looks like and compare it to what my leather looks like. Okay, so find your center, put it underneath your leather that you have attached to your basket or tray or clipboard, however you choose to do it at home. And our first macrame stitch is going to look like a P. I'm using very basic macrame stitches, and I'm alternating between the P and the Q. So they call it a P because your right hand thread makes a loop, your left hand thread comes over the right hand thread, and that right there is your P. Left hand thread goes under your leather through the loop, and we pull snug. Now this very first stitch has nothing to anchor to, so I will put it down from the button until I get 2 stitches done. So the next stitch is going to be a Q. We alternate between the P's and the Q's. So the Q is the left hand stitch making the loop over the leather. The right hand thread comes over the left hand thread, and there's your cue, little abstract cue. Right hand thread over the left hand thread, under the leather, through the loop, and oops, bang the camera, and pull snug. The leather is a little bit thicker than thread, so we're going to snug them both up. And this, at this point, is where I will move it up nice and close to my button. You can kind of see that. Bring that down to the middle. Okay, so we'll just work here from now. So using your fingernails, give that a little tug. So when I start my leather wrap bracelets, I will use anywhere from 5 to 15 stitches. You can kind of just see what you prefer as far as looks. It's typically with the skinnier thread that I will use more stitches, typically around 10 or 12 stitches. The thicker thread, I can get by with maybe 5 stitches. If you ever walk away from your macrame and you're wondering, do I do a P or a Q next? You can see that on the left here, we have just a thread coming out the bottom. But on the right, there's a bump. That bump tells you that's where your next loop has to go. So we see our loop is on the right, so we know that the bump is on the right, we know our loop has to be on the right, which makes it a P. So our loop is on the right hand side over the leather. Our left hand thread comes over the right, under the leather, through the loop, and we pull tight. And ta-da, there's our loop on the left hand side. So now we need the loop on the left hand side, which is the Q, loop on the left, over the leather, right hand thread goes over the left hand thread, under the leather, through the loop, and pull snug. Okay, and if I say that I want 5 stitches and I'm not sure how many stitches, you can always count the bumps. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have done 4 stitches. You can also count the strings in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you lose count, if you're counting 20 stitches, that's a handy little trick to know. All right, so we're going to do 5 stitches here. So right hand thread makes the loop over the leather, left hand thread comes over the right hand side, under the leather, through the loop, and pull snug. And that is the start of your leather wrap bracelet. Watch the next video on how to transition from the macrame to the ladder stitch and adding your stones in the middle. Thanks for watching.